Let's have a look at what is ISO 41014, why it is important, the landscape, and how it fits in to other FM standards, some examples, and next steps. ISO 41014 is the international standard on how to develop an FM strategy. It is applicable to any organization who wishes to establish an FM strategy for the first time or test an existing strategy against an international standard. It is very important because it ensures that your FM strategy fully supports your demand organization's core business objectives and needs. This figure has been adopted from ISO 41001. Remember, ISO 41001 is the management system standard for FM. I assume quite a few of you will be familiar with ISO 41001, as there has been a few presentations on it at previous conferences. So, in blue, I have penciled in the main clauses of ISO 41014, which is the new standard on FM strategy, to show you how it fits into the management system standard. The main clauses are understanding the demand organization, developing FM requirements, and formulating the FM strategy. In green, I've penciled in the main clauses of ISO 41018, which is the new standard on FM policy, which our working group 4 is currently developing to give you a sneak peek. The main clauses are defining the FM policy framework, compiling the FM policy, and implementing the FM policy. A major advantage of having a structured approach towards FM helps to tackle the challenges the environment throws at us in a systematic and organized manner. COVID-19 is one example. Remember, the only constant is change. We need to be ready for the next challenge and then put our management systems to the test. Then also reflect, plan, do, check, act, and tweak our management systems to cater for the new challenge. But you are for sure much more prepared and organized to respond to the challenges life throws at us by having a structured process in place than if you did not have anything formal in place. This is very important when one reasons about standards. You must want to comply to a standard for the right reasons and not to get a certification stamp. Then it becomes fun to put a plan in place and then to see if your plan works when it is tested by life. That is the difference. Now we're going to look at some practical examples to check how ISO 41014 can mature FM strategies in line with needs and objectives. When you read the standard, look out for the words should and because. Remember, ISO 41014 is a guideline with recommendations rather than ISO 41001, which is a requirement standard. ISO 41001 would use words like shall rather than should. There are 302 should statements in ISO 41014. So use these recommendations to test your FM strategy against and mature it. But very importantly, you're going to have to read the standard. Lately, I am hearing more and more catchy straplines, such as, we provide an amazing working environment for our people to do amazing work, or we use FM to ensure the ultimate and safe user experience to enhance quality of life. Sure, these straplines are very exciting and certainly a lot more interesting than the traditional face of FM, such as we look after the facility, we do the maintenance. Oh, and yes, we have an office there in the basement next to the generator. But the challenge is, how are you going to get the top management of the demand organization to approve these cool ideas? And how are you going to get the C-suite to approve budgets for this? So let's look for some guidance from ISO 41014 to test strategies and mature it. On page 6, it says, the demand organization's core business strategy should acknowledge the contribution that FM is expected to make to the success of its core business, however success is defined. So, this could be, we will invest in FM to attract the best talent, to allow our people to produce amazing work. Or we will invest in a highly productive environment towards innovative, creative, consistent teamwork. Or we will invest in FM to advertise and celebrate our superiority in the market, to use technology wisely. Equally, the strategy for FM should reflect the demand organization's business objectives, needs and constraints, and should be capable of translating them into FM requirements. So, these could be all the FM requirements for an amazing working experience, from the parking to the welcoming experience, to inviting collaboration spaces, quiet spaces, hot desks, amazing coffee, a great canteen, to super fast connectivity. The important thing here is to be able to define these FM requirements. And here it comes. Because doing so greatly reduces the likelihood of a disconnect between the business objectives, needs, and so on. So what do we learn from this guidance? Remember our challenge? How to get the demand organization's top management buy-in on these cool FM ideas. Well, make it as easy as possible for the demand organization to understand how FM contributes to the success of its core business. Make sure your FM strategy reflects the demand organization's business objectives and needs, and clearly translate these objectives and needs into FM requirements. Then it becomes tangible and much easier to sell to top management. Make sure it is aligned to objectives and needs, and that they can see that these FM requirements are mission critical to them to achieve their business success. Make them realize that these FM requirements are so in support of driving the business success that they can't go without it. Then you have aligned it properly. Now you are setting yourself up for success. Let's look at another example. In this new normal, many of our demand organizations need to manage and optimize cost. And more we see business objectives like downscale property portfolio with 50%, or optimize the property portfolio of owned properties and get rid of all the rental properties. Understandable, but what is the risk in doing this without a proper FM strategy? Let's look at some guidelines from ISO 41014 towards doing this in a structured and well-planned approach. On page 8 of ISO 41014, we read, the demand organization's plans for its people currently and into the future should be established together with the anticipated time frame. These plans should reflect any growth, contracting, redeployment, or reallocation of people and the reasons. Example, recruitment to target new markets and greater turnover, or reduced headcount and lower operational expenditure. These plans could include how many people to employ, when, what their needs are, any transformation plans to employ differently abled people, and their specific needs like wheelchair access, tools and support for sight and hearing challenged people. And here it comes. Because the last thing we want to do is to get this wrong. If we are going to reduce the property portfolio and invest money to change the layout of existing facilities to accommodate more people because we are downscaling the property portfolio, then it is mission critical that we get this right first time. In 6 months from now, we don't want to break down the dry walls we just installed now. Also, what we don't want to do is to create a siloed approach. We hear many companies reducing their property portfolio by balancing resources and rotating staff. For example, the sales team comes in to the office on Mondays, the developers on Tuesdays, and the implementation team on Wednesdays, and so on. Not saying rotation is bad, just make sure you understand your demand organization's needs and objectives around teamwork and collaboration, and that there is a balance. It might be wise to begin with a study to determine the optimum model before doing things which are not in support of the success of the demand organization. Now more than ever, we need to plan properly and be very agile and adaptable for future needs and changes. Having a proper and mature FM strategy in place is key to rule out risks like these. Let's go a little deeper. How well does your demand organization know what these future plans are? How clearly do they see these future plans? How quickly will you know if the plan changes? How formal and mature are management processes around business growth and capacity planning? How integrated are these management processes? Let's look at some guidelines from the standard. On page 9 of ISO 41014, we read, the maturity of the demand organization's core business activities, processes, and systems should be assessed. A capability maturity model typically describes a 5-level evolutionary path of increasingly organized and more mature activities, processes, and systems, and can be helpful in this regard. The 5 levels are: initial, where processes are poorly controlled and unpredictable; managed, where processes are characterized but are generic and mostly reactive; defined, where processes are systematic and integrated; measured, where processes are evaluated and controlled; and optimized, where the focus is upon continual improvement. So where would you rate yourself? The demand organization's level of maturity and its intention to progress to a higher level, where this is possible, together with the timeline for this change to be accomplished, should be determined. And here it comes. Because the maturity model is a fundamental step to formalize and improve the management processes and business processes and systems of your demand organization. This is how to understand the demand organization's current maturity, the desired maturity, and the gaps to be addressed. Remember, we asked how clear is our demand organization's plan on business growth and capacity planning, and how quickly will the facility management organization know about any changes in this plan? Well, this will be much clearer and quicker if these management processes and business processes are well defined and integrated. The maturity model is also an excellent tool to stimulate constructive communication between the demand organization and the facility management organization when it comes to the maturity of management processes, business processes, and systems. Remember, it is an alignment journey in an ever-changing world. New objectives and needs don't necessarily have mature management processes, business processes, and systems in place from day one. But now we can agree where we are now, where we want to go, and how. This is a two-way relationship between the demand organization and the facility management organization. It's almost like a dance. So where do you find yourself? Are you leading or following in this dance? The choice is yours. So what are the next steps? Get the document. Read the manual. Test your FM strategy against the standard and conform. And share your lessons learned and contribute to the global body of knowledge. Good luck and enjoy the journey.
Time is going by so much faster than I'm starting to regret not spending all of it with you. Now I am wondering why I've kept this bottle inside. So I'm starting to regret not selling all of it to you. So if I haven't yet, I've got to let you know you're never gonna be alone from this moment on. If you ever feel like letting go, I won't let you fall. You're never gonna be alone. I'll hold you till the hurt is gone. And now, as long as I can, I'm holding on with both hands. 'Cause forever I believe that there's nothing I could need but you. So if I haven't yet, I've got to let you know you're never gonna be alone from this moment on. If you ever feel like letting go, I won't let you fall. When all hope is gone, I know that you can change.
We decided was that FM strategy would be the output, would be the intended output. Yeah, good point, yeah.
I've just gone back through the sustainability drive.
It doesn't belong to anybody. I think it's fundamental.
Time is going by so much faster than I'm starting to regret not telling all of this to you. You never gonna be this one.